All right, let's rock. The countdown to kickoff is on, although we already are off and running this morning from London. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, guys. The reason the ratings are down are not because of any protest or not because of Kaepernick, but because the majority of the games fucking suck. But this game doesn't suck if you have a piece of the New Orleans Saints right now, up 13-0 into the fourth quarter of play. Countdown to kickoff. We're 1 hour away from the extravaganza. And we have a lot of live movement, a lot of stuff to break down. So let's bring in our main man, the one and only Donnie Rightside steps up and in. What's going on, Donnie?
Hey, Gabe, Sunday morning, you know, the odds board lighting up like a Christmas tree. No better place to be right here, right now. We're going to spend an hour with you guys out there, go over each and every one of these ball games and see if we can pick out some winners, have some fun, and give out that information that wins, Gabe.
Yeah, you know what? If I had any hair on my head, Donnie, I would have been ripping it out, actually, watching the first half of this Saints and Dolphins game. And I'm thinking, I got up for this. Holy crap. And not only this, Donnie, I had to wake up and I had to go to a store about 20 minutes away from me to get a card to load up on an offshore account. So I had to wake up. I woke up at like 9:08. I'm running down the street. I was on at 10 on my Patreon show. And, I'm running around to get actioned on this fucking Saints game, and then nothing's happening. But I'm in a better mood right now because I got a piece of the Saints, guys, and I got the Saints in the LV Westgate Super Contest. So, these London games blow. I know you and Big Man on Campus aren't a fan of them and think it's kind of dumb that they go there. But the fact of the matter is this one's been among the worst of them all. This is terrible. Like I said earlier, Don, they're going to take the first half of this game, and they're going to be running this in Gitmo, and the motherfucking terrorists are going to be tapping out. They're going to be confessing. I tell you anything. Make it stop. Like, forget waterboarding. Make people watch this shit. Fuck. They'll confess to anything, Don. They'll tell you they killed Kennedy.
You know what's interesting about the NFL, Gabe? And as you watch more and more over the years, the NFL, for all intents and purposes, Gabe, is not a good standalone league. When they put like one game on and that's all you have to focus on, it's easy to hate the game, at least behind like the, 6, 7, 8, 1 o'clock games, maybe 4 o'clock games. You usually can settle on one of these games that's actually a good football game and follow it. But these NFL standalone games, the Thursday night games, a lot of the Monday night football games, they're really bad products.
They really are. And that's the thing. And I don't understand, like the Chicago Bears were on primetime TV. They're on Monday Night Football next week again, too. It's ridiculous. I said the same thing, Don. I'm thinking these games should be later in the day so you're not forced to watch it. You want to make it a big deal. I get it. Okay, how about this? Start it at noon. So we watch it for an hour, and then everybody gets to tune into their favorite team after that.
Yep. Because
this stuff is just torture. But nevertheless, let's get down to business and try to make people some money. Right now, we got the Buffalo Bills and the Atlanta Falcons. A little bit of line movement. I saw 7.5 this morning, even 8s right now. The total is 48. I don't know. I'm a Bills fan, Donnie, and I look at this game and I just don't see how the Buffalo Bills are going to keep up. I mean, they'd have to play a perfect game, and they would need the Atlanta Falcons to be really off their game today to get this. I know it's almost a square thought here, but to me, it would be the Atlanta Falcons or pass. Can you make an argument for the Buffalo Bills in this game? And I'm a Bills fan, so I'd like to hear an unbiased opinion.
The way that we were setting this game up over the weekend, it's kind of one of the harder games to judge because you're sitting in that territory from 7 to 10, right in that range. And again, it's hard in the NFL to win a football game by more than 7 points. We see it week in, week out. If I'm going to make a case, Gabe, and try to give you the Buffalo Bills as a side, Vic Beasley's going to be out, so the pass rush isn't going to be that strong. You have a mobile quarterback who can get outside the pocket and make some plays. You have a really electric running back, especially on a fast turf, just like that's going to be down in the dome, similar to he plays with in Buffalo. The one thing I actually like from the Bills' perspective, Gabe, is Sean McDermott, obviously the defensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers, now the head coach for the Buffalo Bills. But he knows this talent inside and out down in Atlanta. That's going to have one of those ace cards in his pocket, which you can say, you know what? I've seen this offense. Granted, it's a new offensive coordinator, but I know the personnel. I know the throws that Ryan likes to make. Julio Jones had a bracket coverage him, seeing him multiple times per season. If you're betting the Buffalo Bills, you're going to get a pretty good coaching staff heading into this with a good feel on how to defend it. But as the game I said this week, Gabe, one of the worst games for me to actually take a look at of which way it could go. I could see Atlanta being fast at home, 31-17 final. I could see Buffalo playing some good defense here, keeping it lower scoring and inside the number. I don't have a great feel, but making a case for the Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott's an ace in your pocket here for this one.
The Buffalo Bills have played great defense so far this year, without a doubt. Have they played the most powerful offenses? No, in the Jets, beating the Jets, and then the Carolina Panthers offense, of course, has been struggling. Denver Broncos, very impressive win for the Bills last week. I'm with you, Donnie. I got two feelings with this game. Either this game is a 41-14, 48-14 blowout, and we're saying to ourselves after, holy crap, that was a gift they gave us, man. Can't believe it. Can't believe we didn't just lay 7.5 with the Falcons against the Buffalo Bills. And then there's a little like the green gazoo on the great gazoo on the Flintstones, that little voice telling me, you know what? Like you said, Sean McDermott's been game planning against Matt Ryan for years, longtime defensive coordinator of Carolina Panthers, of course. So he knows what we're getting into. Plus, the Atlanta Falcons, Super Bowl hangover, okay, first game of the year on the road. It was an intense game against the Chicago Bears. They wanted to show, you know, we're going to avoid this hangover. Sunday Night Football, very electric, energetic football game against the Green Bay Packers. Sunday Night Football, nationally televised, fired up. Last week, Detroit Lions were 2-0. We talked about it, Donnie. You're not going to catch the Falcons napping when you're playing a 2-0 football team. Falcons went in there, got all they can handle. Lucky they didn't lose that game. I don't know if it's a letdown. I'm not a big letdown guy, but at the same point in time, maybe this is sort of an exhale for the Falcons. You know what I mean? It's the Buffalo Bills coming to town. We're 3-0. Life is good. We watch the Bills. The Bills can't score on us. The Bills can't score on us. And then, boom, next thing you know, the only thing, the way I see it here, and I hate to be morbid, but I think the Bills need to knock Matt Ryan out of the game. But
yeah, either that, Gabe. I mean, you look at the wide receiver. I mean, Julio Jones, no surprise to the injury report, has that stiff back. You never running it and lump him up a little bit, catches those passes over the middle. You know, when an extra helmet there that gets into his back, tightens it up a little bit. I mean, there's a lot of extra parameters here. It's just hard to win a football game by over 7. I mean, if we're asking to pick a side here, it's, you know, almost a coin flip in the NFL over touchdown. I would lean towards the points, but I don't think it's a great spot for the Bills. But we'll see what happens there. You
know, my deal with this is with the Buffalo Bills as well, Donnie. As you know, when you're betting on an underdog on the road, especially against a high-powered team like the Atlanta Falcons, you want to be able to throw the football a little bit. You know, it's tough to come back if you're dinking and dunking to LaShawn McCoy and Charles Clay. And the Buffalo Bills just don't have that vertical passing attack that if we're down by 15 in the fourth quarter, hey, you know what? We can backdoor this still. Yeah, that's my concern here. I'm almost thinking of Buffalo Bills. If you like the Bills, guys, maybe a first half. You know, maybe a first quarter, first half. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills hung around. And you know, the Bills defense, I really do think is the real deal. I don't think it's, they just played crap teams. The Bills defense is damn good.
Yeah.
All right. They are. But it's tough, man. To me, it almost seems too easy to put the Atlanta Falcons in a 7-point teaser with the New England Patriots. And this game feels sort of like they said in the movie The Fugitive, hinky. It's a little off. With this one. I feel the same way. I don't want to bet this game, the Patriots and the Panthers game. It's 9.5 right now, Donnie. Total 47.5. Do you have a strong opinion or feel for this one?
I do not. I mean, you're looking at a Carolina team that everybody's down on. You even saw the reports come out this week, Gabe, that Cam Newton's breaking down. So immediately the public's going to devour that information when it comes across ESPN. Let me get this straight. He's hurt. Kelvin Benjamin's going to give it a go. You know, he's a little bit of a bum knee. Not much out there. No Greg Olsen this one. New England's at home, but New England hasn't played that well at home here with just, you know, those normal 44-21 type ball games that they can play. I think there's a distinct advantage between the New England offense going against the Carolina defense. Carolina does have a very good front seven, but New England should be able to pass against that back secondary. The one thing, that, again, you're looking at 9 points, so you're expecting a blowout in this situation. Everybody's down on the Panthers. What are they going to do? Oh, my goodness, had to go up to New England. The line is too high for you. If you're looking at a total in this one, Gabe, 48, I actually think the over might be a better play than the actual side itself. New England at home being forced to throw the football against a decent front seven. They're going to be, you know, game's going to get elongated just because Brady's probably going to throw the ball 35 to 40 times in here. Maybe Cam Newton can make a play or two. The pass rush for New England, Gabe, as you all know, is not a great pass rush. We'll have a little bit more time in this one, but the explosive weapons for Carolina to try to keep them in this ball game for the win and or cover in this one, they just aren't there. If I had to take some sides here, I'd go New England and I would take the over, but these, you know, 7 to 9 point lines, I'm not too interested in these.
Very, very similar game to the Bills and Falcons, isn't it? You know, same division too.
Yep,
very similar in the sense that good defense, struggling offense. If they fall behind, can they keep up? But at the same point in time, that defense and the pedigree is so good Like, here's another one. It wouldn't surprise me if the Patriots won 28-10 this football game. 31-31, like you said, 31-17, in that range, like you said, with the other game. And then conversely, would it shock you, Donnie, if you and I are joined at the half and we're like, damn, man, that Panthers defense is all over Brady and it's 7-6 at the half? Who knows?
Nope.
I got a weird feeling. Like, guys, we're not going to cop out on every game. You know me, all right? I'm a degenerate. Yeah. I ain't copping out. But if I got a bad feeling or I don't know about a game or I could really see the game go either way, I'm not going to force it. And I feel this way. The Pats could roll them. Wouldn't shock me if the Panthers hung around. Last week, everyone said the same thing. Texans can't move the ball. Deshaun Watson's not going to be able to trade points. What happened in that game? This shit's unpredictable, guys.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I agree. You picked the two toughest games in that point spread slot where you can actually make a case for both ball clubs. I mean, those were the first two that you picked out. All
right. But at the same point in time, Johnny Public isn't always wrong, Donnie.
No, he's not. No, they got to win.
Two-team teaser, fuck. Give me the Atlanta Falcons down to 1, New England Patriots down to 2.5. Why overcomplicate it, right? I mean, I think that's a winner here. All right, let's get to a football game. It's one of my best bets of the week. I'm not a fan of this line movement, but I'm surprised it took so long for people to get here. Cincinnati Bengals are now 3.5-point favorites at the Cleveland Browns. The total is 42. Bengals are minus 175 on the money line. Brownies plus 155 on the money line. Last week, you and I discussed this, the insanity of the Cleveland Browns being favored on the road. They were 1-19 in their last 20 road games, and then they lost the football game. Well, now they're back home here, and it's not like they're dominant at home, Donnie. For the record, Hugh Jackson is now 1-18 straight up as head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Let that sink in. 1-18. All right, so they've won one football game in the last 19 tries on any field that they've played. They've lost 13 consecutive division games. And, they're 1-12 against the spread in their last 13 division games. The Cincinnati Bengals have beaten them and covered 5 straight times. I love the way the Bengals responded last week against Green Bay. It sucks they lost, but nevertheless, they're going to force feed A.J. Green the ball with Bill Lazor. We see that Joe Mixon, they drafted this kid and took slack to do it. They better fucking use him. They used him. 18 carries last week. It's official. He's going to be the guy right now. Today's going to be the coming out party for Joe Mixon. Vontaze Perfect back. Andy Dalton going to play within his means. Won't be playing catch up. They're playing a very beatable team, and they're not done in the division yet. The Ravens aren't scaring anybody. Between the Steelers and the Ravens, one of those teams is going to have 2 losses already. They play them some more. Bengals have a lot of fucking talent. As long as Andy Dalton doesn't piss all over his shoe, the Bengals are going to win this game by 10 points. I love the Bengals, Donnie.
Yeah, looking at the game, Tyler Eifert's going to be out. Obviously, he's been out a few weeks there. John Ross, the rookie, he's going to be out, but nothing too significant past that. You're going to get Vontaze Burfict back, who's going to be in the middle of that linebacking crew, the quarterback of the defense. That's going to help out. But look from a Cleveland perspective here, Gabe. Injury report, Danny Shelton's going to be out. Jamie Collins going to be out again. We're not talking about a great defense here where you can overcome injuries. Teams have been able to move the football against the Cleveland Browns, and you're right. When you talk about Hugh Jackson, I've always been down on Hugh Jackson. Still don't know how he gets jobs. I mean, the Raiders' job, he ran that organization overall into the ground after Al Davis passed away. Now you have him over here with Cleveland. The quarterback guru, offensive guru. The team just isn't very good overall. And when you hang a number there, it's been bouncing back. Look, it's like about 3.5. You might get half juice. But the prevailing line throughout the week was about 3. You're asking, Gabe, the Cleveland Browns to win a football game here. I know it's only 3 points. They're at home, but you're basically asking them to win the football game outright with the rookie quarterback, bad organization, not much of a home field advantage there. I would agree with you. I liked the change that Cincinnati went with. Let those running backs eat today. If Andy Dalton throws the ball 30 times or less, they'll cover this point spread. Let Mixon get the football. Gio Bernard get the football. Just let them eat. And again, there's nobody out there, Gabe. You traded away Joe Hayden. There's nobody that can even come close to defending A.J. Green when you're going to need it in this game.
A.J. Green is in my my DraftKings lineup, actually, like he was last week. 30 DraftKings points last week. He was targeted 13 times, 10 catches. It'll be a similar situation, although I do think they will run the ball a little bit more, which leads me to a prop, Donnie. We got our first real good prop of the day. Oh, and for the record, guys, I'll throw it out there. I actually, if you want to bet the long field goal prop, I like the long field goal prop in the Bills-Falcons game. I don't love it. It's not my best. We'll get to a better field goal prop I got for it. But Bills-Falcons, Hoshka is the kicker on the Buffalo now from Seattle last year. Guy's money, all right? Last week, he was nailing him. He had 250-plus kicks last week in Buffalo. Meanwhile, old man Matt Bryant, the guy's nearly as old as I am. And that's old, Donnie. This guy's been money, man. I don't know where his leg. I don't know if somebody tests this guy for steroids, his leg, because this guy doesn't miss, and he booms long ones. So it's 45.5. I think it gets there, but it's not my best bet of the day. But speaking of Joe Mixon and the Bengals, guys, if you like to bet some props, Joe Mixon, over under 60.5 rushing yards, Donnie. Last week, 18 carries, 62 yards against the Green Bay Packers in a very competitive, tough football game. I think the Bengals are going to find themselves leading in this football game today. And we saw with the emergence of Bill Lazor as the offensive coordinator, we saw Mixon got touches. Bernard and Hill, all right, you guys are complimentary. We drafted this kid 41st overall for a reason. Mixon got 18 carries. I would expect that to develop today, continue to today. I think Mixon has a big day, breakout day, probably pops a couple of big runs, Donnie. I like the over prop, Joe Mixon, over 60.5.
Yeah, even in this game, Gabe, if we're taking a look at forget about the side, which obviously we both like Cincinnati in the situation. Look at the over-under. How many times have we said it when two technically bad teams get together, that 41.5 or 42? You might as well lean on the over. Cincinnati is going to be in the mid to high 20s in this football game. I think Kaiser, the good part about it, as we said last week, Gabe, you have an athletic young quarterback that's going to make plays with his feet. He's going to make plays with his arm, but also is prone to throw interceptions. Yeah. I would lean on the over in this situation. I can very easily see this game getting into the mid 45 range.
You know what? Last week, Donnie, you and I talked about the Colts and the Browns, and
yes, yep.
I was saying the same thing. The total was 42.5. They were at 42 at the half, if you remember, in the first half. Yep. Yeah, I feel a little differently about this game because I think the Bengals defense is going to go so focused, so all in here that they're going to shut Cleveland down. I don't think Cleveland's going to have a lot of success offensively today. And for the record, if the Cincinnati Bengals, and this is the battle of Ohio here, right? Of both 0-3. Mm-hmm. So it's like the loserdom of the state here. But for the record, if the Cincinnati Bengals do lose this game, Marvin Lewis will be fired tomorrow. He will be fired, and Andy Dalton will be benched and then subsequently let go or traded at the end of the year, and A.J. McCarron will be the new quarterback. Like, there's that. This game is that much. This, like Yogi Berra said, when you get to the crossroads in life, you take it. Well, decide which one you're going to fucking take, Cincinnati, because you guys can get back in this thing today with a win, or your coach is gone and Richie Cunningham is gone. But that ain't going to happen. Bengals win easily. All right, Detroit Lions at Minnesota Vikings. This is another one of my best bets. Case Keenum, I got to give the guy credit, man. When he plays at home, he can get it done. I like the system, the dink and dunk stuff. He's got a ton of weapons. 25 or 33 last week, 3 touchdown passes. I like the fact, Donnie, that the Minnesota Vikings are playing back-to-back home games. I like the fact when you remember when Keenum came in against the Pittsburgh Steelers, that was at last second notice, man. People found out, game time decision, Bradford was going to be out. Boom. Case Keenum had an entire week to work with the number ones, and he played great against, last week against Tampa Bay. Now he's got another week at home. As the number one guy, can get more comfortable. Dalvin Cook is the second leading rusher in the National Football League. 32 fucking touches last week, guys. Detroit Lions coming off an emotional game last week. And the Vikings, it's US Bank Stadium for a reason because Mike Zimmer and that Vikings team at home are a fucking ATM machine. Give me the Minnesota Vikings here. I like the Vikings a lot here, Donnie.
Gabe, completely agree with you. I mean, I think I was one of the first guys on the Case Keenum train there, betting with him last week versus Tampa Bay. I agree with you. The Minnesota Vikings at home with Mike Zimmer and that defense completely healthy is a really good team. Now, we all watch the antics of Matthew Stafford. It just seems like, Gabe, if they're down, 7, 10, 14 points in the fourth quarter, he's going to have his football in his hand with a chance to win or at least cover the point spread for you, depending on which way you're betting. I think the key numbers in this one, I don't think the public or maybe even the sharps here, Gabe, give enough credit to how good Minnesota's defense is. Yeah. Dalvin Cook's been great. You have 2 viable wide receivers. Case Keenum, if you watch him play football and he's standing upright, he has a great arm. He threw some dimes last week versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're not asking Minnesota, Gabe, to win this game by 14 points. -2.5 looks like it's across the board. 1.5 for the majority of the week. You're asking the Vikings just to win a division football game at home. I like the spot they're in again. And I think if Case Keenum just avoids interceptions, which I think he can, stays upright, lean on Dalvin Cook, lean on that defense, I see another victory here. Because, again, Matthew Stafford's going to be in this ball game. We both know how clutch a competitor he is. But take him on the road against a good football team. You know the old tendencies of his. Doesn't tend to win those road football games against good teams. I'm always going to lean Gabe, Minnesota Vikings at home, less than a field goal. Good football team, good defense, good running back.
Yeah, and you look at the Minnesota Vikings, and you brought it up, Donnie. Very similar to the Kansas City Chiefs. Although now the Chiefs are getting respect from the odds makers, laying a 6.5, 7 tomorrow night. But no respect. The Minnesota Vikings are not a sexy team. The perception, there's something about Midwest teams, Donnie. Even the year they covered every game. They were 13-3 against the number, 14-2. Mike Zimmer has been plus against the spread in every year that he's been in the National Football League. He is one of the best, if not the best, ATS coach. Belichick went on a big run last year. But the Vikings are great. But like you said, there's a perception. Sam Bradford, dink and dunk. Case Keenum sucks. They don't have any real weapons. Like you said, Case Keenum, if he gets time and at home, he can pick you apart. B, you don't have weapons. Stephon Diggs might be the most underrated player in the National Football League. The guy's unfucking stoppable. Thielen is a fucking stud at wide receiver. Dalvin Cook is living up to the hype that I hyped him up with. Second leading rusher in the National Football League. They're giving him the ball 27 times to carry. He can handle the workload. He's popping big ones. If not for Kareem Hunt, man, Dalvin Cook would be the guy this year. There's a lot to like about this team, specifically at home. They're winning this football game. And like you said, every Lion game is always close. I'll give you that. It's true. But the Lions haven't played an elite defense yet. Yeah, the Giants, the Giants weren't tough. They played like a high school football team in that game. Last week, the Falcons, you traded points. Now you're going in a hostile. That Giant game wasn't a hostile road environment. I mean, the fans were booing the home team. It was you could hear a pin drop or they're booing the home team. Now you're going into Minnesota. It might be louder than Seattle. I think they're cheating and they got the speakers going and shit. It might be louder in there. Hostile road environment, better defense, home field, only 2.5 points. Sign me up with the home team.
And your guy as well, Dave, that you talked about last week, Gerard Davis out again with the concussion, the playmaking middle linebacker. He's not going to be in there. I mean, that's big. Kenny Golladay on the outside. He's out. So now you're restricting.
And, what a big difference. Yeah. What a difference that makes, too, with Davis, man. That kid's a stud. He was already calling the plays, Donnie. And, thinking about that Florida FSU matchup, Davis would have been the guy shadowing and going after Cook. Now he's not there.
Yep. No question about it. I mean, we're going to talk about a couple games coming up where the quarterbacks of the defense are going to be out here as well, but never underestimate it. He's a very good playmaking defensive line or defensive stalwart there. So we'll see what it comes up, but I agree with you. I mean, you're going to have enough. Just get Minnesota under 3 points at home. I'm going to lean on them just about every damn time.
It's funny. I see a lot of guys in the chat saying, you can't trust the Bengals. That's what you guys told me last week, and they covered last week, right?
You could trust Cleveland. That's the counterpart is you could trust Cleveland, but not the Bengals. Got it.
And another thing, guys, God bless you. We appreciate everybody tuning in to support SBR. Go over and click one of the sports books on their website. But I see ask, what about this game? We're going in order, guys. We're going to get to every game. We're going in order, including the Jags and the Jets. We got line movement. It's up to 4 points right now. Jacksonville Jaguars laying 4 total, 38.5, and it's amazing. If the Jags win, they're going to be 3-1. If the Jets win, they're going to be 2-2, and people that bet the under 3.5 for the Jet wins are going to be freaking out early, Donnie. It's amazing.
Yeah.
No one thought this. 3-1 or 2-2. The winning team is going to feel, the winning team's going to the strip club after this game today. It's up to 4. I would really like the Jags. The after London thing scares me, guys, but here's a weird stat, man. As far as London is concerned, Donnie, this is where perception of reality. Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-1 against the spread in games after London, and all teams combined are 8-2 straight up and 9-0-1 against the spread since 2015 when we're turning from London. Strange stat.
How about that stat? Yeah, that is kind of interesting. I mean, looking at this game, Jacksonville, we all saw it last week, the complete dismantling and destruction of what we thought was a good football team in the Baltimore Ravens. They opened up the season going again, playing well on the road against Houston. I mean, technically it wasn't a road game last, but they've traveled well. And again, most times, Gabe, college, NFL football, NFL defenses, college defenses, if they're good, they'll travel well and keep you in the ball game. I think the deciding factor in this game for me is I'm going to look at a side. 3 points, I think Jacksonville was going to be the play here, but I'm going to try to be a contrarian here and look at the New York Jets in this football game. I really like the way they came out and played the Miami Dolphins, dominated them, you can't take that much of the eyeball test, Gabe, because I know the common bettor is going to say, all right, let me get this straight. The Jets beat the Dolphins. That was a little bit of a surprise last week. Now I'm watching the Dolphins get eviscerated versus the New Orleans Saints. Oh, my goodness, I got to bet the Jaguars. Be careful when you do that because, again, it's still early in the season. Later in the season for me, Gabe, which I still think the Jets are a bad football team, that's going to show up when they're, 3-6, 3-7, 3-8 at one point, and guys are just playing for their jobs, looking for the next contract, just trying to stay healthy. The Jets in a similar situation last week. Nice weather in the Northeast. The fan base had a good week. We had a win. The team's feeling good about itself. I think they're going to be able to play good football here. I actually lean on taking the Jets here plus the 4 points. Jacksonville might come in and win this football game. Sure. I think they're the overall better team, but I think 4 is a different number in this one because I think the Jaguars are going to play this game close to the vest, hand off to Fournette, play really good defense. No surprise to me in this game, like a 20-17 final here. I can clearly see that.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I wanted to talk myself into the Jags, and I just can't do it. I can't lay 4 points with Blake Bortles on the road. And like you said, you expect a heavy dose of Leonard Fournette. Yet one thing the Jets have done okay. I mean, they shut down Ajayi last week. The Jets have some guys on their line. Actually, the Jets are they're battling, and I tell you, man. Winning a game, it's like betting, man. You win a game, you bet, you're in a better mood. It's contagious. Football players are the same way. They win a game going in right now in the room and shit. The Jets, the music, they're popping. It's like, hey, man, we could be 2-2, motherfuckers. Everyone's saying we're going to be 0-16. You're right. And Blake Bortles is on the other side. Blake Bortles. They've done a nice job. Marone and Nate Hackett, the OC, and I can't believe I'm giving him credit because I think he's a tool. But I think Marone's a good coach. I think his OC Hackett's an idiot. But they've done a nice job. I told you this, Donnie. Remember when Allen Robinson went down? I said, you know what? This doesn't hurt him. It helps him. It's one last chance for Bortles to throw a pick.
50-50 ball,
they simplify everything. Bortles, don't do anything stupid. Let's stay ahead of the sticks. Let's stay ahead of the scoreboard. And it's worked out for them for the most part. I don't know. This is a tough game. I can't trust either team on this one, Donnie. I don't want a part of the Jets, and I don't want a part of the Jags. I'll pass.
Yep, I'll take a small piece of that +4 here. I think it's advantageous. 3, you might have swayed me towards taking the Jacksonville because the Jaguars, I do think they're a better team. But again, Gabe, we're going to lean on this early in the season. We can still, quote unquote, make the playoffs. Let's surround it. We got a home game. And again, it's not New England coming to town. It's not a really good football. It's the Jaguars. And those teams are NFL teams. Say, wait a second. Jaguars are coming to town. Blake Bortles, we can beat this football team. I'll lean on them a little bit.
All right, next game. This is an interesting game that's a ton of line movement, Donnie. Monday night when the Dallas Cowboys were playing, and not that well, I might add, against the Arizona Cardinals, Bet Online was the first one out of the gate, 8.5. Like the second the game was over, pretty much. They popped an 8.5 up. And then, there was another offshore that copied at 8.5. And then, it popped up in the 7 range in the mornings. And then all week it's been 6, 6.5. Last night, I was watching this game all day. I was on last night. For like 5 hours tracking this game, and it kept going back and forth from 6, 6.5, boom, 5.5's popping up right now. Man, the LA Rams are a popular play this week, Donnie. I got to tell you, I'm one of the public suckers that likes the LA Rams.
No, you know what? I mean, taking up the tickets right now coming in versus the spread, the Rams technically are not getting a lot of public support there. But Gabe,
good. So it's sharp money then coming in on this.
I am right with you here on the LA Rams. I waited all week long coming out. I mean, we talked earlier on a couple shows about looking at, the rest, coming off the Thursday night game they played on the Monday Night Football game. If we take that completely out of the equation, which is a very nice stat to use.
It's been money, Donnie, in every game. I went over it again. Teams off the Thursday have won, and teams that playing on Monday night have lost. It's been money in the bank.
Yep. So if you roll it back over here, and let's just say if you never saw the Dallas Cowboys you watched last week, came out of the gate slow, made a couple freak plays with an athletic quarterback to get back in that football game.
It was all Dak that won that fucking game for them. Dak Prescott won that game for them.
They were lucky they weren't down, 21 points in the first half because Arizona completely controlled tempo. But when you look at the Cowboys, they have a really good pass rusher in DeMarcus Lawrence. If you can somewhat neutralize him, the whole defense runs through Sean Lee, correct? Well, guess who's not playing today? Sean Lee, the quarterback of the defense, a good buddy, be a big man on campus. We've talked about this for years. If you look at Dallas's defense, Gabe, without Sean Lee, it's a shell of its former self. And you say, well, hey, let's just lean on the secondary. if you watch the football game, Orlando Scandrick with one arm out there just getting abused all game long, personal fouls, it's not personal fouls, excuse me, pass interferences, just getting beat deep. Larry Fitzgerald owned that team. You have some capable wide receivers coming into this football game with a Sean McVay offense that looks really good. Not the question of can, the Rams come in here and beat them. That's a different equation. But the Rams are going to be able to move this football up and down the field on that Dallas defense, especially now with Sean Lee out. It's going to open up Gurley over the middle. Sammy Watkins, Tavon Austin, both a little bit questionable with the concussions. They will be playing in this ball game again because they've had a long time to rest, get that game plan in. How nice is it in the NFL game where you're sitting at home already with 4 to 5 days off and you're watching and game planning for Dallas as they play on the road on Monday Night Football? I think the Rams are in a great spot here. I know it opened up early. If you got the early line over 7, that's tremendous, but I still like this play. I think they're going to hang around this football game, possibly win the football game, but take the points here with the Rams. I think it's solid.
Dave Malinsky brought this up, and Dave, that's why I call him the professor, always great points. You mentioned it. So they were off. Cowboys are playing on Monday night, and we've seen teams in this spot lose in this situation, or at least not cover. And Dave Malinsky had a great point about this, saying it means even more, Donnie, when the team can watch a game together.
Yes.
When they can watch it together, and they're all sitting there and going, look at that. Do you see this? Look what they did here. As opposed to just where we're watching the tape and all right, this is what they do. These guys.
Yeah, you come in, you get your game plan. Yeah, you get the game plan on Wednesday. And it's like, hey, look, here's what we're going to do. They probably all got together, catered the event.
These guys are eating chicken wings, drinking beers, and going, damn, look at this. This fucker's open all day over here. Yes. Write that down. You know what I mean?
Yep. Like Aaron Donald out there screaming, like, watch the pressure I get on him this weekend. Rolling out of the pocket here. Yeah, I hear you.
Exactly. So, so we have the matchup. We have the Cowboys on a short week. We have the Rams with rest. You mentioned the Rams offense. I think, Donnie, is it safe to say the Rams offense is for real 3 weeks in, putting up 107 points? I mean, all right. Have they played in an impenetrable defense yet? No. But who do they play? You can only play the teams in the league, and that's who they play. Yeah. So they played the Redskins. Yeah. They played the Colts. They played the 49ers. They put 107 points up. These teams, too, they don't have 107 points. The Rams have scored the most points by far. They're throwing for 280 yards passing, and leads us to the injuries. You mentioned Sean Lee and the defensive secondary, man. We saw old man Fitzgerald shredding these guys. Arizona is just, Arizona and Palmer kind of struggle, but as long as Jared Goff doesn't choke on the road, and I don't think he will, because I don't think Dallas is a hostile environment, Donnie. It's a big stadium, but it's not loud. It's very luxurious and country clubbish. The Cowboys have never been a dominant home team in this stadium. They were good last year with Dak Prescott. And then we get into the secondary. The Dallas Cowboys have 10 guys that are listed as DBs on their roster. 6 of them couldn't fucking practice this week, guys. Jordan Lewis, my boy out of Michigan, he got fucking lit up, all right, when he got out there against Denver. And he's learning on the fly. You got a ton of young guys out there. Woozy's got a concussion. Scandrick's average at best as it is.
Heath is a terrible safety, was getting worked. Yeah. And again, Gabe, we're not talking about like a monster offense.
Those game guys in Arizona did it. Now you're going to have Tavon Austin. Fucking Cooper Kupp's going to be open on every fucking play. Sammy Watkins is going to cause havoc when he gets the fucking ball in the open field. And you got Todd Gurley to keep him honest. And I think the Ram defense has underachieved a little bit and will get a little bit better as Aaron Donald gets his feet under him. There's a lot to like about this game. I think the Dallas Cowboys win the game. Late field goal, late touchdown. Dak Prescott heroics. Dak saves their ass, wins a close one. Give me the points.
Yeah, I think both running backs in this game, if you're looking just from an angle, I think they're both going to eat pretty well today with Zeke Elliott and Todd Gurley. But I just like, and again, this is coming from me being very down on the Rams. And I'm not saying they're going to win this football game, but I like the Rams with the points here. I think the offensive game plan, they're going to roll Jared Goff out of the pocket. They're going to be able to move the football today. The question's probably going to be in one of this game, you can easily see last man with the ball is going to win this football game. I would be surprised, honestly, if, Dallas came out and won this game, 35-21 or 35-17, where the defense played well. It all battles back to Sean Lee in the middle, not playing, a banged up and depleted secondary for the Dallas Cowboys. Not a great defensive line outside of one player. I think the Rams are going to be able to move the football here, Gabe. Again, we'll just take the Rams to the points today and feel good about it.
Yeah, Rams, I like it better at 6. It's 5.5. Yep. Buy that half hook if you have to. Get it minus 115 to get it up to plus 6 at this spot. All right, this next game, Donnie, I don't have a passion. I'm getting fired up for the games. Great show today. Great work. I'm getting fired up for the games I like. This game I don't like. I don't have an opinion on this one. I think the Steelers are generally overrated. I'm not high on this Pittsburgh team. Ben Roethlisberger struggles on the road. He's one hit away from retirement all the time. Le'Veon Bell really hasn't gotten on track. And I don't think, you got the contract shit looming over there. Plus, we can't forget last week they were the Pittsburgh Kneelers. And we had all that protest shit, people burning stuff. But to me, they're a better football team than the Baltimore Ravens are. Yet the Ravens, as a home dog, have always been money, man. And they've always they played well against Pittsburgh over the years. It's a rivalry here. I tend to believe it's a low-scoring game. If I had to bet it, I'd bet the under, but I don't trust either team. I don't want to take Pittsburgh -3, and I don't want to take the Ravens after I lost on them last week.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the lines now creeping up to that 3.5 range. And Earl, just looking at this game, Gabe, let's just say you woke up Monday morning, opened up the paper, opened up the laptop, and you saw like 3 in this football game. On paper, you would figure Pittsburgh would blast the Baltimore Ravens, even though Pittsburgh lost last week, looked terrible. But going to Jacksonville and just seeing the way the Ravens have operated coming into the season alone, laundry list of injuries coming in. During the season, even more injuries coming in. The loss of Marshall Yanda and also the one defensive tackle for the Baltimore Ravens won't be playing in this football game either. The first 2 games, spoon-fed, 5 turnovers apiece in that Cleveland game and also the Cincinnati game. They finally go into a ball game where the other team doesn't give them the game and they get absolutely waxed. But it's hard to take that, we're going over to London, we're going to protest, we're not used to this, you get slapped. I can see that. We got the Steelers on deck. We need to take care of business at home. Over the years, the Baltimore Ravens have been a very good home team. We've seen it. But this Baltimore Ravens team is not the same Ravens team over the past 5 and 6 years that has some weapons on the outside, has a little bit of electric at running back. It almost seems like Joe Flacco drops back, and the best thing they can do is maybe get a completion to Macklin, maybe get, a pass interference to move the football. Man for man, Pittsburgh is way better in every facet of the game to me. And I know the Steelers haven't played on the road. Big Ben hasn't looked that well on the road. But again, it's hard for me to just say, Baltimore plays really well at home. Let me just take him at home. I'm still leaning. I'll be square. I'll be public. I'm still going to lean Steelers here, Gabe.
One thing we should note, Steelers are 0-3 to the under on the year. The Ravens are 1-2 to the under. I don't know where the point's going to come from in this game. This is a key football game, too. Yet, let's look at the history. Last year, 31-27 Pittsburgh, 21-14 Baltimore. 2017 Baltimore, the year before, 23-20 Baltimore, 30-17 Baltimore. So, as we stated, Baltimore have actually, they're 4-0-1 against the spread in the last 5 against these guys, which is pretty surprising to me. They match up well at, Baltimore, one of these teams, aren't they, Donnie? As bad as they look, and like you said, you just named it, they have fucking nothing. They have nothing. They have no running backs. They have no wide receivers. Joe Flacco is like fucking Big Bird with a fucking unibrow that's fucking terrible. Yet when you leave them down for dead, this is when they get you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't want any part of this one. I have no idea who's going to win this fucking game. If I had to bet it, if he said, Morency, you got to bet this game. What are you going to do? I'd say give me the under 42, and I hope for the best. But I understand your Pittsburgh thought here. I can't make a case for either side.
It's funny, Gabe, when you look at the actual tickets tracked here offshore, only 36% of the actual spread wagers are backing Pittsburgh in this, even though the way I look at the football game and just say, I can't believe like Pittsburgh's only opened up at -2 or it was 2.5 or 3 all weekend long. I guess a lot of people take a lot of stock. And again, look at these 2 football teams last week. You lost to the Bears on the road. The Bears got decapitated on Thursday night. You lost to the Jaguars by over 30 points last week if you're the Baltimore Ravens. 2 teams circling the wagons where if you just like to go back and say which team is hot, which team's coming in, you can't have 2 worse situations coming in to play a football game here. And maybe it comes down to your boy, Gabe, Mr. Long field goal over prop bet. Justin Tucker, which he might go 5 for 5 today. Yeah,
that's a good point. He really hasn't had an opportunity. It's disappointing. They don't move the ball. It's hard to fucking kick field goals when you can't get past the 50-yard line. And in week 1, Dalton kept giving him the ball on the 2-yard line. It's been a weird year for Tucker, actually. Yeah, he hasn't sucked, but he hasn't had a chance to kick any footballs. Yep. All right, next game. Big game here, Donnie. If we're looking at games, all right, what's the biggest game of the day as far as standings and NFLdom? The Bengals game is big because they're fighting for their fucking life and their job, but that's not massive. The Lions-Viking game is big. They're both 2-1. It's a big football game there, but it's not a sexy game going to get everyone's attention. The Rams-Cowboys, kind of an attractive football game, but Here's one. We're talking about division rivals. We're talking about an important early season football game. The Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. And the money keeps coming in on the visitors here, Donnie. Yeah. It's -3. Total's 43 right now. And, you know, if the Titans win this game, they're going to be 1-3. If the Titans win this game, they're going to be 3-1. If the Texans lose, it's hard to say the Texans and the Titans. And they used to be the same fucking team. You know where I'm going with this. Titans win, they're 3-1. Houston loses, they're 1-3. And they're in a big hole as far as division play is concerned. And they ain't going to be the wild card team. You know, so it's all about winning the division. This is a massive game as far as this division is concerned today.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, I'm high on Tennessee, you know, a little bit lower on Houston. But the more I looked during the week trying to build a case for Houston here, you get Will Fuller back. That's going to let, you know, a little bit less of a release there, maybe a bracket coverage on the opposite side with Hopkins. You have a decent running game. You have Deshaun Watson coming off, you know, a great football game. A lot. And again, Gabe, for a young quarterback in the NFL to go to New England, they should have won the football game, have a very good game, you know, making plays with his feet, with his arm. That's going to come back here. If Tennessee is a different team to me at home than they are away, beginning of the season, Gabe, I'd have said, you know what, Tennessee's going to win this football game. I don't like the faction where Houston's going. But even though more money is coming in on Tennessee, what do you have? Opened up at -1, -2, now sitting at 2.5 double juice. So roughly around 3. I got to tell you, I'm starting to lean towards the home team here, Houston Texans. I didn't bet this game, but all week long looking, if you're asking me, I have to play this game, I'm going to play the Houston Texans. I think they're in a really good spot here. Young quarterback coming off a good game, coming at home. And I just think, you know, with everything lining up, good wide receivers, Will Fuller's coming back, open up that offense a little bit. I can see him hanging around and possibly winning this football game here because, again, it's going to come down to the Tennessee defense, which I'm not too high on here. They're a little bit weak in the secondary. I think he's going to get some time back there, create his own path, and hang around this football game and possibly win. I'm leaning on Houston here, Gabe.
We're on the same page here. I'm not just leaning on Houston. I'm taking Houston.
There you go. Good job.
I've got Houston in one of my super contest teams as well in Vegas even. I like them that much. And I'm only getting 1.5 there. I'm not even getting fucking the 3. I really like the Houston Texans here. Now, I got to be honest, though. I'm 0-3 in Titans games this year. It's the one team I can't read. I like the Titans to beat the Raiders in week 1. I was wrong. I took the Jags in week 2. Wrong. Last week I was on Seattle, although it wasn't my best bet of the week, Seattle or anything, but wrong. So I have been 0-3 with the Titans, but you mentioned it. To me, there's just something special about Deshaun Watson, and the kid's a winner. That's what is something special. Oh yeah, he's a winner, and he's got great God gift, great athletic ability and talent as well. He's just one of these kids that make plays. He's very similar to Dak Prescott. And I told people this and said, if you start Deshaun Watson, the plus side with him is he's going to be a better quarterback than he is in week 6 than he was in week 3. And we're already seeing this. He came in against the Jacksonville Jaguars in a half of football. He finished with 7 fantasy points, Donnie. So let's say he played a full game, 14 points. They went on the road against a good Cincinnati Bengal defense, finished with 17 fantasy points. And won a football game for them with a big run. Not a great game. First road start, first career start. Got it done on the road. Impressive. Goes into New England last week, as you stated. It's a 13-point underdog. Puts up 26 fantasy points. You see where I'm going with this, correlating the fantasy to reality, but he's gotten better every game, Donnie. You know what I mean? Every game. Now he's back home. It's his 3rd game starting. A little bit more comfortable. Houston Texans haven't played at home since they blew that game to the Jags in week 1, which feels like a hell of a long time ago. Let us not forget, their last preseason game was canceled. They were in the middle of a fucking hurricane. J.J. Watt fucking raised $20 million. They had to move to San Antonio. They didn't practice. They missed games. Everything was all thrown out of whack. They showed up. The Jags showed up to play, give them credit, and they got it done. But ever since then, Houston have they're grinding away. And now Houston, they got through the tough part. All right, we have to go to Cincinnati. We have to go to New England. Now we're back home. We got a do-over mulligan from when we let everyone down in that home opener again. And Deshaun Watson, I trust. Look, Donnie, that Seattle Seahawks offense struggling against everybody. They fucking tore up that Tennessee defense last week. They tore them up. At Tennessee, you're giving up 275 yards a game through the air. They're ranked 26th passing in the National Football League. They're ranked 16th against the rush. I think Deshaun Watson can scramble. I think the Houston Texans defense will make a play or two. And I say Deshaun Watson beats Marcus Mariota here. Give me the home dog.
No, I agree with you there. If you couldn't have had a quarterback I was more down on in that Cincinnati game when he makes his first career start on the road, which again, what do you expect out of a young kid on 3-4 days prep? You're coming into it, I don't want to say a hostile environment, but you're going against a pretty good defense overall, pretty good defensive coordinator, Marvin Lewis, and you struggled, your eyes were down. The next week, getting coached up, having a 10-day break, he looked fairly good in New England. And again, you're right. The Tennessee defense, how do you get after a young quarterback? Give him multiple look, bring a lot of heat, but you can lean on guys on islands with good cornerback and good safety play. The Tennessee Titans have a good defense, but you're not going to say, oh my God, he's going to be under siege all day from that Tennessee front seven and their lockdown cornerbacks and safety play. He's going to be at home. The crowd's going to be behind him. He's going to have, he's going to hear everything when he gets up to the line. It's not a hostile environment. And I agree with you there. A couple weeks ago, I would have been all over Tennessee in the situation. I love the way the NFL, to me, gave a week-to-week proposition. How bad Deshaun Watson was against Cincinnati, how good he was versus New England. I think he's in a pretty good spot today, and he's getting points at home. I always like to lean on points at home in the NFL and try to make a case. I think it's a strong case today, Gabe.
Once again, Donnie, so we're going old school here, Jimmy the Grink style. Better defense, home field, underdog. 3 combinations, hard to pass.
Love it. No disagreement here. I love getting points at home. It's hard to win a football game in the NFL. Houston, I think, a little bit undervalued just because of the way they opened up. They got some injuries there. But again, you're right, Gabe. He's going to be able to get out of the pocket. They're going to roll him out. And again, don't underestimate. You say, Will Fuller hasn't shown that much. No, Will Fuller's a speedster. He's going to open up that secondary.
Shit for Hopkins now, dude. Exactly. Yes, Fuller's going to go deep. It's going to open up shit for Hopkins a little bit more because they force feed Hopkins. Now they're going to have to respect Fuller a little bit more. Hey, great call. You're getting Fuller back in there. All right, Giants and Buccaneers. Here's to me, the Giants, it's not the same as the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 0-3, yet the Bengals know, all right, we played the Browns twice, including today. We still play the Ravens again. We play the Steelers twice. Like, if you're the Bengals and they look at the standings and they know today, like I said, either the Ravens or the Steelers are going to have 2 losses after today. The Bengals will be 1 game out. I don't think the Giants are thinking we can salvage this. Maybe they are publicly, but I think they know, like, this shit's imploding. The Redskins look pretty good. The Eagles look good. The Dallas Cowboys aren't going anywhere. The Giants aren't going to get back in this. And for the record, only one 0-4 team in the history of the NFL has ever come back to make the playoffs, and that was the 92 San Diego Chargers. What do you make of this game? And the Bucs, I don't want to be too critical of them. Minnesota's a tough place to play, as we talked about. They've only played 2 games, so it's hard to get a full judgment. I'm not a big Dirk Cutter fan. I wonder about Jameis Winston, if the kid's ever going to get better or he just sort of is what he is. But then you got a combination of Giants. Bad offensive line. They're ranked 32nd in the National Football League running the football. They're ranked 32nd in the National Football League stopping the run, although Tampa doesn't really run the football all that much. This is a weird game, man. A desperate Giants team and pretty much a flaky Buccaneer team. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to lean on the road team in this situation. You know me, I usually like a lot of home teams here. I'm going to go with the Giants. I like the way they played last week versus Philadelphia. The one thing that, Odell Beckham is back. It's a complete dynamic change for the Giants. I'm the biggest Eli hater in the world. The game plan last week by Bob McAdoo, outside of his play calling at certain times, was fantastic. I believe 35 throws, Gabe, came out in under 2 seconds. I don't care if you're playing, the steel curtain defense or Seattle from a couple years back. You're not getting home on that regardless of what you do. They have 3 capable wide receivers coming in healthy, but more than that is the Giants defense getting healthy. B.J. Goodson's going to be back in the middle. Olivier Vernon's going to play in this football game. So you have an intact defense. Overall, I think that defense is better than Tampa Bay. But looking at Tampa Bay on its side, you're going to have T.J. Ward that's going to miss the football game. Brent Grimes coming back with a bulky shoulder. You also have Quan Alexander and Levante David both missing that game. They're playmakers. Gerald McCoy went down last week, has that bulky ankle as well. There's going to be a little bit of rain possibly in the forecast. So those guys that are a little bit more banged up going to be a little bit more cautious as the game goes on. And I'm going to take the Giants here getting the points. Oh, I missed out early in the week, Gabe, because I wanted to watch to see how some of these injury reports came down. I believe the Giants at one point, you could have got 4.5. They dipped down to 2.5. I liked it at 3, gave it out at 3, paid a little bit of juice for that. But I think the Giants are actually in a good spot here. Not so much because they're good or they're dead, Gabe, but just from a Tampa Bay perspective here. Didn't like overall what I saw last week. Coming home, not a healthy football team. They can afford a loss in this spot. And again, I don't play this angle where I already called the Giants are out of the playoffs. Their team is dead. But I just think in this spot, the Giants getting some points here, they can do a little bit of damage with their offense and keep that Tampa Bay offense in check because mostly they're healthy coming in, a great secondary, a good pass rush. Jameis Winston should be able to get the job done at home, you would think, but I think the Giants are going to hang around here, and I'm going to lean on the points.
You know, I'm looking at the numbers, actually, Donnie, and I look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm like, you know, their defenses, you know, their pass defense giving up 659 yards in 2 games. So I'm like, man, that's fucking terrible. And I look at the rankings, and I see they're ranked 15th in the NFL pass. And then I realize, oh, yeah, they played 2 games. So they've given up more than a lot of teams have. Now, what do we make of this, though? You know, the Vikings beat up on a fucking, you know, we saw the Bears on the road, and then, you know, they looked terrible on the road. The Bucs did. So I don't know. We're right back to scratch. I don't even know what to make of this Bucs team after 2 games. So we're going to learn a lot about these guys today. But as you know, as I just mentioned, all kidding aside, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have given up like 659 yards through the air in 2 football games. It's terrible.
Look at the first game they played at home, Gabe. I mean, you're looking at an completely inept offense passing the ball with Mike Glennon, who went over 300 yards on that Tampa team. Now, Grimes was out last week. That was a big injury. One of the things I loved about that Tampa Bay Minnesota game, because there was nobody out there that's going to be able to shadow Stephon Diggs. He's going to come back into this football game and help a little bit. But when you're taking, you know, the one safety out of the football game as well, Odell Beckham healthy now. He's still going to get his yards. It's not so much saying, you know, is Tampa Bay a good football team? Can they win? I just don't like him in the spot. And you're right. They give up passing yards, and you're going to come in with arguably the best wide receiver in the game, healthy into this football game. I think you're going to see some points there from that Giants offense today.
Yeah, let's really quickly do a quick check here. Let's check out Odell Beckham player receptions if we can get one. No, they got a Mike Evans prop up. Fuck me, man. Why not? Fuck. All right. Yeah, you know what? I got Odell, and it's funny. I'm with you. I think Eli, I call him the Capital City goofball. I think he's the worst quarterback ever to win 2 Super Bowls. If Dilfer's the worst to win 1, he's the worst to win 2. Like, the guy is an average quarterback that happened to win 2 Super Bowls. Fuck. And, you know, he plays every Sunday. All right. We'll give him that. But yeah, I'm not a big Manning guy. And Odell, I think, is a kind of a clown.
Yes.
Odell jersey or anything like that. But I think he's a good kid. I don't think he's a bad guy. I just think he's a dumb kid. Fuck, right?
Emotional would be the best word for me. Irrational.
Yeah, and flaky. You know what I mean? So with all that being stated, I have him in my DraftKings lineup today because I know Tampa's not going to be able to stop. I think there's going to be some points put up on the board in this game too. I think both teams are going to get into the mid to high 20s here, Donnie. Would you agree with that? Like both teams attack passing the football?
Yes. Yeah, because you're looking at one quarterback on one side with Jameis Winston's going to be able to get out of the pocket, make some plays when everything breaks down. And again, they have 2 great wide receivers.
Yeah,
flip it over to the other side.
Eli Manning,
Gabe, for the most part, boom or bust. He's going to throw a pick 6. He's going to throw a 70-yard touchdown.
They don't run the ball, Donnie. They're going to throw the fucking ball. And McAdoo knows I could get fired. We're going to go down swinging. We're going down swinging, throwing the ball to Odell Beckham.
Yep. Odell Beckham screaming on the sideline from the first, you know, series to the last one. I'm open, throw me the ball deep. And they're going to force the issue, which is great for a total.
All right, shit, man. We got time. We got 3 games, Donnie. We break down the Sunday nighter. It's a little tease to make you join us at the half. But we'll talk about the 3 games remaining. Your Philadelphia Eagles are getting 2 points. Total 48. I've been picking on the Chargers almost every week, and I don't know why, man. It's one of these weird, I can't make a legitimate football argument for it, but I think it's a bad spot for you guys going out west. I could see the Chargers getting it done. I think there's points put up on the board in this football game. Give me the Chargers in a high-scoring game. I give it a floor because you know a hell of a lot more about the Eagles than I do. What's your take?
Coming into this game, Rodney McLeod's going to be back for the Eagles. If you don't know who that is, he's the secondary complementary there to Malcolm Jenkins at safety. The only problem is, Gabe, I see this time and time again. I don't think athletes technically understand if they've never had the hamstring injury, which McLeod plays damn near every week for his entire NFL career, that the minute you try to open it up, and I know it feels good during the week, that could be an issue. They're still down Corey Graham, still down Jalen Watkins in the secondary. They're a little bit depleted. Fletcher Cox not going to play in this football game, which takes out that massive push from Jernigan and Cox coming right up the middle. You still have some good pass rushers from the outside. The one thing Phillip Rivers does well is he gets the ball out quickly. The interesting part about this game from an Eagles perspective on the offensive side, I don't know how much the run game impact is going to be. It looked very good against the Giants last week. But again, you can run the football against the Giants, just get, 4 or 5 yards up the cut. But that's not really what the Eagles want to do versus the Chargers here. Melvin Ingram on one side, On the other side, you're going to have Joey Bosa. They're going to have a good pass rush. I leaned early in the week, Gabe, actually to taking the over 46-47. But the more I look at it here, I think the Eagles are going to score points. I'm just not sure what I'm getting out of the Chargers offense. Phillip Rivers doesn't push the ball downfield. I know Gordon's going to be healthy for this one. Wide receiver's not explosive. Tight end's not explosive. I can see them on those, Gabe, damn near taking 3 plays just to get a first down. 4 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards, 5 yards, 4 yards, moving the ball down the field. I think you're right. The Eagles aren't in a great spot here, but I think Alshon Jeffrey's going to have a big day. I think Wentz is going to have a big day, and I'm just not sold yet, Gabe. A road game is hard to win in the NFL. But what the hell do you get as a home field advantage? I know it's 3 straight home games for them. They're going to be used to playing.
What's the word with Eagle fans? You read the papers, you see, like Kansas City's closer. Kansas City, they had fucking, we're gone, and there's tour groups and the whole, so we're in Philly. Are a lot of people going out there?
Yes, a lot of it. They will travel well. And again, it's apathy out there for this isn't like a 3-0 Chargers team saying, hey, let's fight for LA, like they say. That's just not the case.
No, the Rams are LA's team. The Rams are the point. And they're not even really that big, but the Rams are more popular.
Yep. Again, you look at the line movement. It's pretty sharp throughout the week. It opened up around that -1 range. You saw even a peak at -2.5 in favor of the Chargers. I don't think it's a great spot for the Philadelphia Eagles. I haven't picked them much yet, but I like to say, Gabe, good football teams, which I think the Eagles are, win games like this. You're not going into Denver. You're not going into the black hole. You're going into play in a sterile environment where damn near half the stadium is going to be yours, and you're playing an 0-3 football team. And again, Gabe, it gets back to they're not going to make the playoffs. The Chargers are dead. They don't want them in L.A. Phillip Rivers looked like he was on fumes last week. I'll lean on the better football team just to win the football game here. I'll go Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. I don't have a strong opinion on the Eagles and Chargers game. I have a slight lean to the Chargers, but no strong opinion. 49ers and Cards, anything on this one, Donnie? It's 6.5 right. And for the record, it's been live movement. I think people like what they heard us say because the Texans just went from 3 to 2.5, went back down to 2.5. Any feel on the 49ers and the Cardinals? Babano, Ian Cameron joined me on TV earlier in the week, and he actually likes an upset here. I think San Francisco can hang around. I'm not betting this game.
Yeah. No, I like the points. Early in the week, it came out at 7.5. I recommended that as a play. I recommend to play at 7. When it dips below that 7 number, it gets kind of tough. Because, again, Gabe, we're dealing with the Niners here. We're dealing with a banged-up Carlos Hyde who can take 3 carries and be out of the football game. He's going to be a major player here. I know Iupati's now going to be out for the year for Arizona. But the one thing I think Arizona can do, similar to what they did versus Dallas last week, is I don't trust that secondary. I don't trust that defense as a whole for the 49ers. I think Carson Palmer's actually going to have a pretty good day here. I know they're getting a little bit of help back at wide receiver. They should be able to move the ball. It just gets down to me, Gabe. The 49ers are going on the road. You like to be smart. You like to be sharp when they're at home, maybe getting some points. They did go through the back door with the Rams. I don't have much on this football game other than if I take the game, I gave it out at 7 on a couple podcasts this week. I'm going to lean on taking the 7. 6.5, don't like it that much, but I just don't think it's a great spot, even though they're coming off rest. And I know Arizona lost at home and it's a short week, and I get all that. But it's the Niners on the road, and I don't know what I'm going to get out of the 49ers as a whole as a team. Tough one. I'd take the points in this instance, but don't love it.
We have an AFC West divisional tilt here. 2 teams coming off of losses. One of the teams were humiliated. The other one wasn't embarrassed. It was just a tough road loss for them. So the Raiders get beat up, punched in the mouth on Sunday Night Football, and now go into Denver. We've got line movement here, guys. It just moved to 3.5. Michael Crabtree was expected to be out in this football game and will be out in this football game. I don't know if Crabtree's worth half a point, but nevertheless, it's 3.5 right now. I like Denver here, but I hate this 3.5 bullshit, Donnie, because it could be a closer game. But I think C.J. Anderson's going to be a key here. The Raiders' defense got gashed last week on the ground. They made Chris Thompson look like Barry Sanders. He's okay, Thompson. He ain't no star. All right? And he lit him the fuck up. I don't think they're going to be able to address this. The Raiders' defense wasn't good last year, and they're being exposed already. The Jets went up and down the field on them. I think in the altitude, somewhat of a shorter week, late game on Sunday, going up there to Denver. Expect a heavy dose of C.J. Anderson today. Last 3 games against the Raiders, C.J. Anderson's got like 311 yards and 4 touchdowns, all right? He fucking runs the ball up these guys' ass, and the Broncos are aware of this. Expect a heavy dose. I think Simeon back at home will limit the turnovers. Can we write the Raiders off? I don't know. It's up to 3.5 now. I think Denver wins this game, but the line's getting up here. And for the record, guys, we got a long field goal prop, 43.5. This new Raider kicker is fucking good. We have altitude. McManus is good. I don't understand why it's only 43.5, man. It's like bait car fuck. You know, they left the keys in and the cops are going to bust us on TV. I'm getting in the car, Donnie. Give me the fucking long field goal over 43.5. But I think the Broncos win this game, but I'm not a fan of this hook shit here, the 3.5. What's your take?
It looks too easy to me. I mean, everybody saw last weekend on Sunday night. I don't even know if the Raiders even showed up in that football game coming in somewhat healthy as well. They always lean on a very good offensive line. Got abused by the Washington front seven. Marshawn Lynch wasn't able to run. Couldn't get anything going at the wide receiver position. You say, well, hey, Josh Norman's a really good cornerback, and that's going to happen. Now you have two really good cornerbacks you're going against. Yeah. You're already going to be down Crabtree. Now you can focus on Amari Cooper. But, oh, yeah, he has a bulky
overrated. The guy drops balls all the time anyways.
And he has a bulky knee already. So you're got a 1.5-legged wide out. Nobody on the other side. Are you going to tell me you're going to go into Denver and say, we're going to lean on our offensive line and just run, an ancient Marshawn Lynch 35 times to keep it close? I'm trying to build a case, tried to build a case all week long for Oakland, Gabe. I can't build it. I just think Denver's the right spot here. They're at home. They're a different football team when they're at home. A little bit embarrassed last week going on the road, losing to Buffalo, coming home. Back-to-back road games for the Raiders. Denver needs this game more than the Raiders do just because it's that divisional game. It's at home. They need it. I can see a win by 7 points here by Denver at home. The question I have is, how's Oakland moving the football effectively against a pretty good Denver defense?
All right, Donnie. So it's that time. Best bets. Let's get it done. It's nearly kickoff.
I'm going to go. My best bet, 1 o'clock here. I'm going to lean again on the points. I see it's down to 5.5 in places. Let's lean on the Rams in the first half of this. In the first half of the games today. I'll take that full game wager. Rams plus the points in that one. Also, Gabe, why don't we lean on the Minnesota Vikings here at home? Looks like -2.5 at Sportsbook, -120. We'll go with those two wagers at 1 o'clock. Cash them in, and we'll head on to the afternoon.
I don't want to scare you, Donnie, but I'm on the same two teams, and we'll re-up you and take the Cincinnati Bengals as well. Give me the Bengals, give me the Vikings, give me the Rams. Let's get this thing. I'll see you at halftime, everybody. Me and Donnie will be breaking it down at the half. As soon as the first game goes to the half, we come on live, and we stay on until the last game gets taken off the board. We'll see you at halftime, Donnie.
Thanks, Matt. See you soon.